All right, we're gonna get things started, so please grab a seat for this panel session. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. How are you guys doing? Good? Travel good? Mike's work, just wanna make sure.
Yep. Working?
Works. Testing.
Testing, yeah?
My work was
Mike
working.
Perfect. All right, so I want to start with this panel session. We're going to talk about untapped football markets, and we have different perspectives from our fellow panelists, so it's going to be a really interesting chat. So please grab a seat if you guys want so we can get things going. But let me start with the first and obvious question, right? So I want to ask, like, what are the biggest untapped markets currently in football, in terms of clubs, nations as well? So I would love to start with you, Fernando, in that question, from your perspective. Where do you think, and especially from your unique situation, why it makes it so appealable?
Yes, I can talk about my situation as you talked. For me, Cyprus football now is a big opportunity. We have now 5 spots for European competitions. So this makes the market very attractive with only 14 teams in the league. So yesterday I was hearing about investment in football. So I believe that is a good target for investors now.
How about you, Henning, from your perspective, as well, the club-wise as well?
From my side, on the other way around, when we are searching for markets, I think it always depends on the club which is the right market to go. And there is not an answer in general, which is the next big untapped market. You have to know which market is relevant for you, which are the key aspects you want to achieve. And yeah, that's the reason why there is no general answer. For us, it's always a combination of business and sports. And there are different dimensions, and we created a kind of holistic approach. And if we have this together, and we know what we can achieve in each dimension, then we know which is the right market for us. But that's the right market for Hannover, and not the right market for every other club. So I think there is not the one market that's the next big market.
That's really interesting. Hey, Chris, how about you from a consulting perspective, and looking with this specific cases as well, and any other markets that?
So over 10 years ago, I opened an academy in South Africa.
Okay.
Again, raw talent in Africa, if that's sort of what people are looking for. And then I went in CEO roles in Southeast Asia, and then Eastern Europe as well. Again, it's sort of knowing what what people want. If it's raw talent, then Africa would probably be where I'd be looking at.
Okay.
Whereas if it's commercial opportunity, then I would be looking more into Asia.
How about from Marlon, from your perspective, and from as a small nation, and also lately in that region specifically, also football is blooming as well.
Thank you, and good morning. It's interesting because a lot of times you hear about new or upcoming markets in football. We tend to think about numbers. We tend to think about revenues and the business side of the game. But it's also interesting to hear Chris talk about talent and thinking that the best talents are in Africa, which I'm not going to dispute that, because I know a lot of talent comes out of Africa. But I come from a region that produced some of the greatest athletes in the world. Yeah. We could name names like Usain Bolt, like Dwight York. And if we go further on, Lewis Hamilton, Reece James, Lauren James. But a lot of times, we do not view the Caribbean as an upcoming or new market. And as a result, we don't get those kind of investment from clubs from Europe, etc. But in all honesty, I believe the Caribbean is probably the most untapped and untouched market available to football and to sports. And more so, the talent is there, but it's just waiting for the investment to come from the European clubs, etc., to harness it and to develop it. I believe it's a no-brainer because we've seen the results, and I believe it's the biggest and the newest market in the globe right now.
No, most definitely, and you can see also the results in terms of these small nations now also entering this new format of the World Cup. Chris, I wanted to ask you, in that perspective of new markets, what should come first? Fan engagement, commercial opportunities, and I want you to also tap in these examples that also we have with our panelists as well.
I think before everything, it's when you go into a new region is partnerships. Find someone on the ground that knows, that's been there before. So before we started the academy in South Africa, there was a Danish chap that had been down there that had previously tried to open one for FC Copenhagen unsuccessfully, but also he got some great knowledge from that, which we could draw upon and saved us a hell of a lot of money and a hell of a lot of time to get into that market. So basically, my advice would be find someone on the ground early that's going to save you time and money.
And from that perspective, from Hannover's perspective and the German market, how that, like say, fan engagement, and how you guys approach that in your particular fans, and also how to approach new fans from your club's perspective?
I think on the one hand, we have to work with our fans on the home ground. It's always the most important thing, that they understand why we are doing things and they know that they always come first. So we are located in Hannover and we do our things in Hannover, and we do only things which support Hannover, maybe a city or even on other dimensions, and us as a club. We started our cooperation in Japan 3 years ago with a club partnership, and that's what Chris said. You need partnerships in the special markets. We always start with a club partnership. So we started with a club partnership that we know that their fans also understand this cooperation, and they support us as a kind of supporting club for themselves. So we took our cooperation was based on youth players which played in our academy, and now they are on our first team. So that's a role model in this case, of course, for us, that this works. And when you have a club cooperation, the people have trust in this cooperation, and they trust you when you go into a market. So that's always our first step, or that's the first step, to have a club cooperation, build this club cooperation, and then you can enlarge in the market on other dimensions like media cooperation, corporate corporations, and governmental corporations. But you need a partner which is located in the market, and in our case, the best case is a football club on the other side.
And also on top of that, I think it's also gaining a level of trust with these people. You're coming in there not to sort of, if we go back to Africa, not to exploit the talent that's there and just pull them out for your own personal gain, but also to give back to the community, sort of be a pillar of that community as well.
Absolutely. So we do grassroots program together with the club over there in Japan. We support them. We invited them to come to Hannover. They see our academy and we support their academy. And during the time we cooperate with FC Mito Hollyhock, they promote in the first league. So that's also a success story that supports our trust.
And talking about those lessons you can learn from other markets, and talking about European football, Fernando, also in particular for APOEL, being such a small niche, small country, but also like a niche market, what lessons from outside are you bringing into the table for your own club?
As you know, I come from Brazil, and for us in Brazil, the heart of a club is the academy. When I arrived in Cyprus, Cyprus used to have international players. So you see a squad of a team, probably will be the start 11, 10 international players. So since the beginning, I've been trying to work hard to improve our academy and start day by day to involve the players from our academy in the first team. And this season was the first time that we had 6 players from our academy. It is also help us to engage the fans, because they are not used to see this. And I think to motivate fans to go to the stadiums, even for the national team of Cyprus that they are not used to go. I think I can start to show them that the players that born in Cyprus has potential to be professional players and good players. So this is the way that I'm working to engage the fans and the community also. For me, it's very important.
Interesting. And Marlon, in terms of that local talent, and you were tapping in your first answer, but there's so much raw talent in your region and in your country. But how do you tap it into to get success in a nation that before maybe you didn't have a, let's say the talent was always there, but now with the organization, what you guys are learning also from other markets and other countries?
So what we've been doing is trying to build partnerships globally. So when I come to forums like this, the conversation I have is to invite, European clubs, investors, to take a special look, to take a closer look at the Caribbean and the Caribbean region. Because what you've seen is we have these talent come out and become great and international names over a period of time with limited or sometimes no investment. So can you imagine if a German club or a club from Europe comes in and establish an academy? Because presently there are no European clubs having academies in the region. There is one in Jamaica, I think it's British owned. But outside of that, we have another 31 countries in the Caribbean that participate in football that do not have these academies coming. But with us doing it with limited resources, coaches are not at the highest standard, but still producing sometimes world-class players. What we've been saying to Europe in particular is to take a closer look and take the chance to invest in the region, because Dwight York came into Europe by a mistake. Aston Villa went to Trinidad to play a match, and they saw him, and then he became one of the biggest players in the world. And we have many, many more. Leon Bailey, who's now in Villa. Leon Bailey was a local boy who just grew up from schoolboy football, playing in high school in Jamaica. So we have tons and tons of examples of individuals that are coming through without major investments. And that is what the Caribbean need right now. Investment from investors outside of the Caribbean, trusting in the talent there and investing in it.
And what would that investment go into? Would that be infrastructure, coaches?
Coaching education is important, but proper academy setup. Most of our governments are keen and excited and interested in working and partnering with a foreign club. The raw resources are there. In most instances, we already have the infrastructure. What we do not have is a structure to take that kid from grassroots and channel him or her into a professional environment. And that's all that's missing.
From a European club perspective, would that, for example, the Caribbean, right? Because we talk a lot about Africa and the talent, and a lot of European clubs, look at that, and it's been for years. But how about the Caribbean region? Have you guys, for example, from a Hannover perspective, ever thought about that particular region and tap into that potential?
To be honest, that wasn't a region we are thinking about to tap in so far. The reason is we are doing having a scoring model, and the scoring is which region is the right one to go for us on sporting side, on business side. Different 15 dimensions, and then it's rated, and and also the support by the DFL is very important for us. So which are the key markets for the DFL that we can know they will support us when we are going there. We are not a big club. We are not the first ones who are going international. That's also a reason why Hannover is picking special markets, I would say. And so at the moment we are not thinking about the Caribbean so far, and we had no local direction there that we say, okay, we know how this market works, we know about the education, we don't know how far we can get any success out of this market. So it's, as you said, it's kind of unknown market for us in Europe.
It's interesting because if we look at a pure athlete from anywhere in the world, The fastest man in the world came from the Caribbean. Fastest woman in the world came from the Caribbean. Lewis Hamilton, fastest race car driver, came from Grenada. So if we look at pure genetics, pure athleticism, Caribbean is top of the world. So it's interesting that European clubs are not seeing the Caribbean and its athleticism and its greatness and measuring it in terms of the ability to succeed in football.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think also with globalization, and I want to tap into the next question, talk about, I think now with social media and digital platforms, how can that help, for example, from Grenada's perspective, but also from a club perspective, and Chris, from how, from a consultant aspect, it's now easier to look into the markets that you never thought of, right? From your perspective as well, like I think now, how's that helping as well to look into regions or potential markets that you never thought of?
You're absolutely right. It's easier to go into the market because it's easier to communicate into the market, to get the fan base out of the market, to be in touch with people there, and to build up stories, build individual stories in the different channels. And so we have an enlargement in the channels on our home ground. So yeah, it's easier for us, and it's easier also to understand the culture and the people in the market you want to go in, and you have to understand how to communicate into the market. It's always different, so you need specialists or special channels to communicate into the market, and then social media is the easiest way to be part of this.
Fernando, from your, how do you approach that, right? Being also, again, a unique market, how do you approach that talent digitally and to attract also potential players for the club?
Yes, I agree with you. I know that we have a lot of good players in Caribbean, but then talking about social media, the problem is that it's a matter of strategy. For me, it's very important use social media, this kind of thing, to attract fans, investors, even players. But in my strategy now, what I'm looking for is create a strong relationship with my fans. So my first step is is like build a solid relation inside my country, so then I can go abroad. Because now I don't have this there. So
okay.
I'm very honest. Because
you're working on the first step.
Yeah, I'm the first step yet, unfortunately.
And Chris, from the consulting aspect, I mean, this is massive, right? Like how has that changed the game, right? In terms of digital media, even with AI nowadays, and how you use that, all the digital tools that you have in hand.
Absolutely, but it gives you a larger reach. So from my experience in Southeast Asia, it's heavily social media driven. Websites out there from clubs aren't really that prominent. It's all social media. Facebook is the biggest platform that they use in Southeast Asia, and it just increases your fan base and your reach so massively. I actually implemented something in Botswana recently as well. That there's so much fan engagement and people want to be involved in their community club that in the space of a Facebook page being launched, we had like 200,000 followers in the space of like 2 weeks. It was just crazy. But yeah, I think social media gives you that reach, as you were saying there, that just no other platform can provide.
In terms of keeping the authenticity with social media, and also I think there's a risk of like losing that authenticity with when expanding to other markets. So sorry, for the club perspective, how do you keep that authenticity in Hannover, for example?
I think all channels have to follow our club strategy. It's always the same strategy: what we want to be, and how we want to feel, and that people see us. So, and then we have to I would say translate this into the specific market, and then we need support by specialists or digital support with KI or something like this, and then we know how this market works, and then everything has to be the same like in our home market translate it into the special market we work in.
In terms of how to expand, I want to also touch on women's football and also being, I know in the last panel there was a bit about that, but how important also from Grenada, right? Like we're talking about men's clubs, but also looking into women's talent, how the game is growing so much in that aspect, and also the statistics say that it's the next market to tap into. Sorry.
Women's football in the Caribbean has taken off significantly. One of the best players in the world today is Khadija Shaw from Jamaica, a homegrown girl who has made it all the way to Manchester City and is dominating Europe right now. But Lauren James, her parents are from Grenada. So if you look at women's football in the Caribbean, it's taken off significantly. We had Jamaica play in the World Cup. We had Haiti play in the World Cup. So that space now has become, matter of fact, if you look at the Caribbean right now, we've been preaching that there's a greater chance of making it in women's football faster than making it in men's football. As I said earlier, we have natural athletes coming out of the region. And the deficiency we have is early development, identification and development over a period of time. If you look at our track and field when it comes to female, we have probably the top 1, 2, 3, down to 20 in terms of sprinters in the world. So if we can get again, clubs from Europe, etc., investing in our women's football, the Caribbean might be the area or region where we'll have some of the best women's football players in the whole world.
I think women's football, in staying on topic on the emerging markets, is the fact that there isn't many years of previous clubs that have been set up and sort of processes that are in place. When you're entering a new market in women's football, you can literally put your blueprint on it exactly how you want it to be, and run it how you think is going to be successful, rather than partnering with someone that's set in their ways as such.
Yeah, from the club perspective, of course, I know some clubs in Germany which started internationalization or going into special countries with their female teams, with their women teams, and so this could also be one pillar of a cooperation. But I think there is no club which is the only thing, the only aspect of a cooperation to start into a market, and it's kind of one idea or one first move to go into a market, and so it's relevant because it's growing, of course. But it always depends on the club and the club strategy, and then you can decide if this would be a good idea to go abroad with the team.
In my case, we invest a lot in women football. We have academy, under 19, under 17, under 15, and we are glad because we won the championship of under 19. And next season, we have, at the first time, the first team of the professional. So we are very exciting, and as I told you, make part of our plan to engage the community and also the fans. So for us, it works a lot.
In terms of metrics, what are you guys looking into for it looks like success? I'm sorry. In terms of metrics for you to make sure that it's you're making the right moves or right steps. What are you looking into?
So let's look at Grenada, where I'm the president of. We are a very small island, 110,000 people. But when I got elected 4 years ago, what I did is to start football from zero. And I started off with a national grassroots program. So every corner of Grenada now has a grassroots center. And our goal is to get to about 5,000 kids. As a matter of fact, we're about to embark on a campaign to get every boy and girl in the country playing football. Whether their parents played basketball or track and field or cricket, we want to ensure every boy and girl is playing football. And we started the grassroots program 4 years ago. We were in the second edition. We're probably up to about 2,500 kids or so. Before the end of the year, we want to touch at least 5,000 kids. And if we get all these kids playing, we believe at some point we're going to pull them into our development track to professional football. But also we just did a partnership with FIFA to do the talent development scheme, the TDS program. And FIFA sent us a coach, and a gentleman from England, and he's going to be on the ground for 2 years developing our best 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds. And they're going to train at least 4 times a week, every week for the next 2 years. And it's almost guaranteed that we've already started seeing success. We're going to see players, we're going to have a proper pathway for players to come from 10, where they play at elementary school football, because we have an elementary school competition for 10 and 11-year-olds, and fast track them into professional football.
I also think it's very much case by case. What is success? What does success look like? So if you're looking at it from an academy point of view, is success of how many players go on the pathway to the professional game, but also you have a social responsibility to educate those kids as well, because not everyone's going to make it as a professional footballer. If you're a professional club going into a new region, what does success look like? Is it increased fans, increased sponsorship renewals? I think it's very much case to case of what success would look like.
Yeah, it's exactly this in our case, because we are doing it on several holistically. So on the sports side, we need players. We had one, we started in our academy and is now in our first squad. We increase sponsorships, we increase media reach, we increases contacts into the country with governmentals and embassies. So that's the relevant aspects in this partnership to grow, and that's the reason why when we go to the next market, we have the same things we are looking for, and then if this grows, it's successful for us.
In this moment, what I'm doing is reduce budget, because after pandemic, clubs suffered a lot, and we drop off almost 70%. The budget is too much, and we still, and I need to prepare the club to pay all the debts and also bring new revenues. And my strategy is based in the academy and also develop young players. This is a tough work. We are talking about this because when you have a coach, usually they want to win, of course, and sometimes they don't prioritize these young players. So it's a tough work, but I'm very optimistic that we will achieve good things, and that's it. To increase, in our case, marketing and also commercial deals, we depend, unfortunately, our first team. So first step is to improve our first team, and then I'm sure that we can look for commercial deals and marketing sponsors, this kind of thing.
In terms of those metrics, what's the main objectives that you guys have in the next 5 years? I want to start with you, Marlon. How do you see from your federation moving for the next 5 to 10 year plan?
In the short term, we want to expose our senior men's national team. We got relegated from Ligue A in Nations League to League B. The objective over the next couple of months is to get back to Ligue A, to play with the USA, Mexico, Costa Rica, etc. In the long term is to have a proper pathway for our young players to come through from grassroots to professional football. A measurable one and a sustainable one that we can look back and see the pathway to professional, but also to ensure that we educate our young boys and girls. For me, and what I said to my affiliates every day is that for the organization, while we are a football association, most importantly for us is for us to develop good young citizens. Because not everybody, and somebody just mentioned, not everybody is going to play professional football. But how do we develop our young people so that in 5 to 10 years, we'll have a better country? So the investment is more in our people and in our young people, first of all, and then secondly is to ensure that we can get proper professionals coming through.
Chris, from your consultant?
Yeah, as a consultant, obviously it's different to you guys here, but I think it's creating plans in place where clients and clubs can come to you, know that they're in good hands, know that you have the expertise in these emerging markets and different regions where if they put their trust in you, that you can provide the product and the final outcome that they're looking for, which again is case by case and club by club. But it's learning partnerships, cultures, many different areas, which then you can just sharing information and sharing expertise is absolutely fundamental, but being a sort of a one-stop shop that someone will come to if they're looking to expand into these emerging markets.
Yeah, for us it's more quality than quantity, so we want to enlarge our Japanese market and to build up a second market, and that's the next step, and that's all for us. If we have in both markets successful, like at the moment in Japan, it's good for us.
Can you expand a little bit on the Japanese market, to why it's been, you know, a target for you guys?
We've been in the Japanese market for 3 years now. We started with a club cooperation, I've said, and this was supported by a company which is close to Mito and our partner club, and also in Lower Saxony. And from this idea, we started with all other dimensions, and we need more media partnerships to increase our media reach. And we started to build a product which is relevant for the Japanese market. We try to be the door for Japanese companies to Hannover or Germany and the other way around. And we want to gain the trust from them that we can be a door opener. So we work very close with the German ambassadors in Hannover or in Germany, and also with the Chamber of Commerce on both sides. And that's for us something very important. And so we believe that we can, below the line, it has to be commercial successful. And the next step is that we can invest into the market more, and probably we can get more sportive success with players like at the moment. One player we have.
Thank you. Fernando?
For me, I'm using the good environment of Cyprus in terms of the low taxes that we have there. Also, is a beautiful country, and the economics goes very well. To attract investors to look for our club, so that's why I'm building a strong academy, and that's why I'm reduce the budget, so we can show that with a good management we can achieve good things in the future. And for us, good things is come back to play Champions League that we used to play. This is our goal.
Nice.